Some places don't just fade with time, they linger. Their silence breathes, their shadows remember. The old railway platforms, the empty carriages, they're not just bricks and steel. They're witnesses to stories that never really ended. Tonight, we return to one of those places, where the lights go out and the stories wake up. On to our today's story. My name is Edward, and for 25 of my 40 years, I've been a railway man. I spent most of that time at the Central Station, the city's roaring, brilliant, chaotic heart. But eventually, a man starts to crave a bit of quiet, so I arranged a transfer to this old, forgotten terminus on the edge of town. The place is officially decommissioned for passenger service, used only for the occasional freight train. Its Platform 3, once the proud gateway for commuters, now stands as a silent monument to busier days. The bricks are weathered, and the great clock on the platform hasn't ticked since 1975. Almost from my first night shift, I had the distinct feeling I wasn't alone. It was a sensation, a presence breathing in the shadows, just out of sight. I put it down to the creaks of an old building, but the feeling only deepened with time. I'll never forget the night of the 23rd. There was a proper chill in the air, the kind that seeps into your bones. I was about to log off and face my cycle home when a sound from Platform 3 cut through the silence. It wasn't just crying, it was the raw, hopeless sob of someone who's truly and utterly stranded. When I got there, I found the girl, Della, curled up on a bench like a discarded newspaper. She was clutching a mobile that looked like it had lost a fight with the pavement, and a worn-out rucksack was slumped beside her. "I've missed the last train," she managed between gulps of air. "How will I get home now?" I took her to the station master's office, a room that permanently smells of damp and regret, and put the kettle on. There, I said, deploying the classic British response to any and all crises. As she sipped her tea, I noticed her eyes kept darting towards the window overlooking Platform 3. Edward," she whispered, as if the walls themselves were listening. "Do you see that out there?" I peered into the gloom. "See what, my dear, besides the overwhelming aura of municipal neglect?" "A man, an old man, in a white uniform. He was just pacing." I told her it was probably a trick of the light, but I must admit the hairs on my own neck were beginning to feel a bit uneasy. At 1:30, a deafening bang echoed from Platform 3. It was the sound of the old freight door, which I hadn't heard in a decade. "He's back!" she squeaked, her face now the color of weak tea. "Right. You stay here," I said, with a bravery I was nowhere near feeling, and grabbed my torch. I marched out. The platform was, predictably, utterly deserted. But as I turned to leave, I saw it, a tall, thin shadow near the freight shed, vanishing quicker than a politician's promise. When I returned, Della looked as though she had seen a ghost. "He knocked," she breathed, 3 times on the window. I saw his face. His eyes were completely empty. Well, that was it. I decided it was time for some research. I dug out the old station ledgers, unleashing a cloud of dust that likely contained spores from the Thatcher era. And there it was, in the log for 1998, Reginald Reg Proudfoot. The entry read, "Deceased, 12th March, heart failure, on Platform 3. Then a new sound started. Clink, drag, clink. It was the unmistakable, grimly efficient sound of someone making rounds, a sound that grew louder and clearer as if approaching our door. Della grabbed my arm. "He's walking!" I looked out the window, and there he was, as clear as day in the moonlight, an old chap in a pristine, if antiquated white uniform, a satchel over his shoulder, pacing slowly along Platform 3. He stopped, looked directly at our window with an expression of mild bureaucratic inquiry, and then moved on. "Right," I said, my voice venturing into a register usually only audible to dogs. "I think it's time we made ourselves scarce." We made a swift exit to a bench out front, under the comforting glow of a street lamp. Della was still shivering. In the morning, her rather flustered mother arrived. As they were leaving, Della turned to me. "He wasn't scary, Edward. He just looked very dedicated. He raised his hand, like he was trying to warn me about something." Later, I sought out old Mr. Abernathy, who's been here since the dawn of time and knows more about this station's secrets than the signal boxes do. "Ah, Reg Proudfoot," he chuckled, stirring his tea. "Stickler for procedure, that one. Best station watchman we ever had. The poor bloke doesn't know he's been made redundant by the Grim Reaper. He still comes in for his shift, checks the doors, patrols the platform, forever awaiting the 11:30. He's harmless. In fact, he looks after lost souls, the living kind. If a passenger gets stranded on his platform, he sees them right, points them to the exit. These days, when I'm on the night shift, I always give Platform 3 a respectful nod. I don't see a ghost. I see a retired public servant, eternally on duty. And I've started making a point of ensuring the platform is especially tidy before I leave. One doesn't want to incur the spectral displeasure of a man with strong opinions on procedural correctness. I've learned that some souls love their duty more than they fear the afterlife. Reg Proudfoot is still on duty, waiting for a train that will never come, and guiding home those who are lost. Perhaps his warning to Della was just his way of saying, "Mind the gap, miss, and always check the timetable." And now, whenever I pass Platform 3, I give a quiet nod. "Carry on, Reg," I murmur. "Everything is in order." And I sometimes leave a thermos of tea on the bench. One should always be civil, even to the deceased.